All right, hello and welcome back. We're going to be looking at 1-2, solving linear equations, day 2. So let's look at example 1. This is a proportion because we have two fractions equal to each other, and we're just going to cross multiply. Maybe the butterfly method is what you've heard. So we're going to start with this red part, so 3 times 3x minus 8, and then we'll do the other side with the blue, so 5 times x plus 2. Of course, set these equal to each other. So now we're just going to solve this equation by distributing. So we get 9x minus 24 equals 5x plus 10. All right, I'm not a big fan of variables on the right side, so we will be subtracting by 5x on both sides. So we have 4x minus 24 equals 10. And then we can just solve this by adding 24 to both sides. So we have 4x equals 34. And then we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So we get a fraction of 34 over 4. But that can be simplified, and we can write it instead as a fraction as 17 over 2. So make sure to simplify your fractions. All right. So what we're going to be doing for the rest of our examples is we're going to be clearing fractions. And the main thing you need to look at when you're clearing fractions is you have to multiply by something specific. You're going to be multiplying all terms by something called the least common denominator of all the fractions. All right? So we're going to skip over B for now, and we're going to go to C because B is a little weird. So C, we're just going to start like we normally do. We're going to start by distributing. So, we get 2x over 3. And then we have to do the 1/3 to the negative 7, so negative 7 over 3, and bring everything else down. All right, and the best way to figure out what you're going to multiply by is to look at the denominator. So I have 2 3's, a 6, which we're going to end up using, and a 2. So we're going to end up using a 6 because it's the biggest number. Usually if you multiply by the largest denominator on both sides, it'll end up working out for you. So that's going to be our next step, multiplying everything by 6. And it looks like we're kind of not helping because we're just making larger fractions. So this next part right here is we're just multiplying by 6 to everything. All right, but the nice part is that when you do this, it will divide out nicely to a whole number. So for example, that 12 over 3 becomes a 4x. 42 over 3 becomes a 14, and 6 over 6 just becomes 1x and negative 3. And now the equation looks super nice. So that is the whole point of clearing fractions. So you get an equation like this that is much easier to solve. So we combined like terms to get 3x minus 14 equals negative 3. We're going to add 14 to both sides. So we get 3x equals 11. And then we're just going to divide by 3. So our answer is 11 over 3. Okay, we're going to look at another one. We're going to look at D next. We'll come back to B. B is kind of a special example. All right, this one looks even messier because there's more fractions, but we're still going to start by distributing and multiplying because we have the parentheses. So just make sure you multiply your numerators together. So 7 times 5 gives you a 35. 4 times 3 gives you a 12. And then, 7 over 4 times 1 is just negative 7 over 4. And bring down the other side. Okay, so we're going to be looking for the number that we can multiply by. So 12 will be our magic number because it's the largest. Typically the largest number makes it the easiest for us to multiply by. So multiply by 12 on both sides. And once again, it's going to look like we're making more work for ourselves when we multiply, but once again, when we divide the numbers, that'll be much easier. So the first fraction becomes negative 420 over 12. The next fraction becomes negative 84 over 4. Then we have another 84 over 4, and then plus 24n. Just keep in mind, the whole point is to divide, so that way these fractions become nice, solid, whole numbers. So we end up having a negative 35n, and then 84 divided by 4 gives 21. So we have two negative 21s, and then plus 24n. And now it's just a regular equation that with no fractions. All the fractions are cleared out. So I'm going to subtract by 24n on both sides because I don't like variables on the right side. So we should get negative 59n, and bring down minus 21 and negative 21. And then to continue solving, we're going to add 21 to both sides. So we get negative 59n equals 0. All right, and then just divide by negative 59. And we get our final answer of n equals 0. All right, there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to b because, and you'll see in just a second, b is kind of a special one because look at our denominators. We have a 3 and we have a 4. 4 is bigger than 3, but I also can't divide 3 by 4 because that's what we want to do. So instead, what you can do is if you have numbers that are smaller, you can multiply them together. So 12 will be our lovely number that we're going to multiply both sides by. So once again, we're going to have a lot of fractions with larger numbers, but they will divide out to make nicer numbers. So when you multiply by 12 on both sides, this is what you get. And this works out really nicely because 12 divided by 3 gives you a 4x, 36 divided by 4 gives you a 9x, and then 24. And then we have two x's that we're going to combine for like terms. And then we're just going to divide by 13 on both sides. So we get our final answer as x equals 24 over 13. All right, there we go. And now we're going to go all the way to the bottom of the page, and we are going to wrap up by solving a literal equation. Okay? This one is the area formula for a triangle. So we'll solve for h, and underline h. And what I'm going to do next to get rid of this 1/2, because it's 1 divided by 2, I can multiply by 2 on both sides. 2 is the reciprocal of 1/2, so it clears it out. So we end up having 2a equals bh, still trying to solve for h, so I will be dividing by b on both sides. So 2a over b equals h for height, and we solve for h, so that's our answer. All right, there you go. Good luck on your Delta Math assignment, and then just be careful, watch out for those denominators, and think about which number to multiply by. Good luck.